don't know the power of the Star Wars Guys podcast. Sometimes the best
of
quote
Disney
is
Plus.
one that you just immediately start with something simple, you know where it's going, and then just shameless plug.
Sometimes I start a sentence. I don't know what I'm going. I don't know where it's
where it's going. No matter when, no matter why, no matter. Do you remember the Michael Scott thing?
Sometimes, yeah.
And
Sometimes
David
I-
Wallace is just he's like adjusting in his seat, waiting, trying to be polite as he's finishing it.
Start a sentence.
That's the definition of the Star Wars Guys podcast. We
That's
have no
definitely-
idea.
We click play and we just go.
You ready? No. Here we go.
One
You
giant.
don't
Yeah.
know the power.
That was good though.
That was good. So
Yeah.
with that, welcome back to the Star Wars Guys podcast. As always, we're your hosts, Mike. Hello there. Myself, Nate. Hello there. And you know him well, Uncle.
Hello there.
We're back. We're back again. We're back.
Like
He's back.
that would be a it's Harry Potter. I want to say after Voldemort and Dumbledore have their little fight in the Ministry of Magic.
Yeah.
Fudge shows up. Oh,
It's like, yeah, we've been telling you that for 8 movies. I don't know.
Yeah.
They
But,
tried.
that's cross. So that's we're mixing our
Different realm.
franchises
Oh,
right
yeah.
now.
Mhm.
As we do.
That's
As we
when
do.
It's fine.
that's folks. This is about Luke Potter, Harry Sky.
Guy.
Come on, Sky.
Come on.
guy. Come on, Snips.
Come on.
You better get warmed up for that. That's coming. We are now in election year.
That's
Oh,
true.
boy.
So get
Oh,
your
boy.
get
Lot
your
of material.
impressions polished up. You got a Nikki
Lot of
Haley in there.
material.
Nikki Haley got an impression.
Lot of material.
I don't have it.
But we are going to be diving into some updates, some news.
Big year for Star Wars.
Big year.
Not
for
maybe
Star
as big
Wars.
as we had hoped with some things getting pushed back,
Yeah.
but a lot of
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
some
We're
stuff.
getting some good stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about what we're getting and what we're looking
Nah.
forward to most,
Okay.
what we're anticipating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Star Wars in 2024. This is our first podcast in the new year.
Man, 2024. Who'd have thought?
2024.
Star
there's,
Wars.
There's a lot to talk about. When I was thinking about this podcast and kind of not necessarily an outline because we don't really do that. We just kind of go. But I was thinking about reflecting on the last year and but even bigger than that, like the Disney Plus era so far of Star Wars and kind of post. I sent a message in our group chat the other day about just time, how much time has passed between it's crazy how much time has passed already
Yeah.
between episode 9, how it's already been 4 years. We're in 2024 now.
Yeah.
And if things go well as far as on the movie front, we're talking probably 2026 maybe that we get the next movie. I mean, I don't think. I mean, even the other day there was a little bit of an article that came out with Charmin Abe Chenoy is the director
Wait, that's
of the.
is that a made up name?
I just made it up.
Say it again.
Carmelian
You know the thing.
Squidward, Carmelian
Chameleon.
Squidward Charizard. Come on. And the director of the new Rey movie that's going to come out. But she was talking about how she's really excited. But obviously, I'm waiting to see a script, and then I'll be able to tell you more. So that
Yeah.
was an update that they don't even have script yet, which is not a negative. It's just the stuff
Yeah.
takes a long time. So that doesn't make me feel like a movie is probably coming. I know we're in 2024. It might be a stretch that a Star Wars movie, which takes so long to cast visual effects, actually shoot it. I mean, the first trailer for Force Awakens came out, was it 13 months or 15 months before
a
the actual
long
movie
time.
came out, which nobody comes out with trailers a
Yeah.
full year in
Yeah.
advance anymore. Kind of that's
No.
changed a
I
little
just
bit.
had a horrible thought, by the way.
Oh, tell me.
Oh.
I love that.
So you
about-
said 2026.
Yeah.
You know, Disney, Star Wars, they're nostalgic sometimes. If they wait one more year, it's 50 years since the original,
That's true.
the first movie came out. You think they might just let's just wait one more
We've
year.
waited 10. Why not
50
just wait?
years, make it a big gala,
Yeah.
extravaganza.
Could do it.
Good.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Could
They,
do it.
they got other
It's-
stuff we could do.
That would be a funny press release too, or if like Kathleen Kennedy had to give an interview and like the movie's ready, Oh,
Yeah, but we're so close to 50.
But don't you think 49, 50?
Just has a ring to
So
it.
we're just gonna wait a full year
Nice
and
round
sit on
number. Yeah.
Doesn't feel quite the same. Listen, I know we've waited 10 years. What's one more?
So when we were talking about this though, as far as the time already that's passed between movies, it's funny because in 2012, Disney buys Lucasfilm and announces immediately upon the purchase that they are going to be making new Star Wars movies.
Yes.
What's crazy is 7 years back from 2012 is 2005, Revenge of the Sith. So what is wild is if our next Star Wars movie is in 2020, if it is in 2026,
Yep.
and our most recent Star Wars movie is in 2019, that's a 7-year window. We will have gone as long between Rise of Skywalker to our next movie, a full 7-year gap, the same length of period of time as the gap after
Sith
Revenge
and,
of the Sith
acquisition.
in the announcement of new Star Wars movies,
Yeah.
which seems like that was a long time.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's been longer breaks in Star Wars before going back from Revenge of the Sith
Yeah.
to
That one
Still.
seemed
Sequels.
final. That one,
Yeah.
Sith seemed final. Like that's it.
Sith.
Yeah, that
felt
was
like, I
it.
remember
That's
leaving
it.
the
It
theater. And
did.
it wasn't like I hope they're doing more. It was
Yeah.
just like
And there was
that
no
was
Disney
awesome.
Plus. There was no. If you don't make a Star Wars movie, we don't
That was
get
it.
Right,
visual
because
Star
even though
Wars.
Rise of Skywalker felt like, the last in this saga of these characters
Yeah.
at the time, now since then they've announced Rey coming back.
That's
But
right.
even though that felt like the end of an era, we still knew Lucasfilm they were making a ton of
Yeah.
Star Wars content,
Yeah.
so it didn't feel like the end. But
Yeah.
and at the
that was-
time, I
Yeah.
think we would have been surprised if they had gone more than 2 or 3 years without the next movie at the time,
Right.
because they had just been doing
Yeah.
one a year, and in some cases two. When you did the
Yeah.
Solo Rise of Sky or Solo Last Jedi, like 6 months apart. But that kind of leads into what we want to talk about today, and maybe even part of that is a little bit of a bigger discussion of we'll get to all the specific things that come out in 2024 because there's so many things that we're super excited about. Bad Batch being one of them because
Sure.
I am so excited for Bad Batch.
Yes.
But something I was thinking about with the announcements, I think Bob Iger said again recently, like, we're next year is a year to kind of catch our breath a little bit. Not just specifically talking about Star Wars, but he was referencing Marvel especially.
Stray.
That's it.
Yep.
So,
Sorry. Yeah.
I thought you were pulling out your hair.
Can't stand it.
But we went from the announcement in 2020 at the investors meeting where they said, "Here's all of our shows." Boom, 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 boom. And then now we're like, I was literally
It's like
sitting
an Agatha Christie
home the
movie.
other
Like,
day.
which one's gonna go first?
Exactly.
Oh, that one's dead. Forget that one. Oh no, that one's
Exactly.
dead.
Oh no.
And
I thought
then
that was
there
the
were
prime
4.
suspect,
Right,
Taika. Well
It's
then.
now a list of everything that's not happening.
No,
Exactly.
I know.
But it's strange how we went from this is on the horizon because we announced this and this and this, and they
Yeah.
did most of those shows, if not almost all of them. Obviously,
Yeah.
there's some things like Reigns of the New Republic,
Yeah.
stuff that kind of
I was just
changed.
kidding about not doing them.
But what's weird is when you get to the end of that, and you haven't gotten the next announcement
Yeah.
for like what's next. There's not a ton of announcements. We know what's coming. The shows that are coming. 2 of them were in that initial announcement.
Yeah.
Going back a few years, which was Skeleton Crew and Acolyte. They were
Mhm.
talking about that, or especially Acolyte. I think was in the initial announcement, and Skeleton Crew was a Star Wars Celebration. But there's the other things that we expect are follow-up seasons to the shows we already have.
Right.
But there's not a ton of like, here's the next live-action show.
Whole new
announcements.
concept. Yeah. Right.
A whole new concept,
Right.
other than the stuff they've been working on. And obviously, in the movie side, they're really backing it down a notch. So, all that to say, it's been a while for the movies. I do miss it on the big screen, especially as time kind of goes on and on. It's kind of like I love what we're getting on the shows because obviously any Star Wars, I eat it up.
Yeah.
But I do miss it on the big screen. I was wondering if you guys, do you feel the same when you're watching Star Wars on? I mean, does it
I
now
have
after going through it? Do you have any like? Oh, do you get as excited for new season of Mando as you would a movie or something like that?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. I have a
Wrong.
philosophical
Just kidding.
question for you. You made me think of something interesting. As movies have been changing.
Yeah.
It was superheroes and sequels for a long time. Is there something, and now it's going away,
Now
Yeah.
they're
Is
all,
there
it's all
something-
Oppenheimers.
Is there something innate about Star Wars that puts it into a category that now makes it less attractive to moviegoers? Because you can't avoid the
interesting.
superhero
Yeah.
sequel. It's
Yeah.
it's
part of
it's not a
that.
sequel, but it still feels like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Are we in a place where people are going to be going, I know what that is?
I
When
think
they put
I
a new
think there's
movie out.
definitely
I think
some
there's-
of that
yeah, I
for
think
sure,
there
and I
is.
think that's partly maybe why they feel so much pressure to whenever the next movie does come out.
It's a lot of
It
pressure.
it has to
Yeah.
perform well, especially just the nature of Star Wars. Everybody knows there's always people that love it. There's always people that dislike a certain movie, or especially when it comes to the ending
Yeah.
of stories, it's hard to wrap up stories. So there's going to be people that loved The Rise of Skywalker. There's going to be people that wanted a different outcome, wanted to see a different ending. That's
Mhm.
just the nature of everything. I mean, look at any amazing TV show and their run. There's people that would be like, oh, Breaking Bad, hated the ending.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones, hated the ending. You know,
Yep.
whatever it may be.
Yeah.
There's going to be people that disliked it. There's going to be people
Moesha.
that loved it.
Hated the
Just
ending.
because people
See,
get their own
there's always something.
expectation of what the ending should be, and then when
Right.
it doesn't happen, they're like, "Oh darn, I didn't want that." So endings are always difficult in general.
Yeah.
And you add on top of that, obviously, it's the stuff we've talked about previously on the podcast of The Last Jedi. There's a lot of divide there.
you made me think of something.
But because of that, I feel like, and then you add what you're talking about, the nature of just the superhero sequels, kind of the Marvel, just the excess of content that has been put
Mhm.
out over the last handful of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of all those things. That people be like, I know what to expect in that, or
I'll wait for Disney Plus.
I'll wait for Disney Plus
For sure.
yeah. As opposed to an Oppenheimer, which feels new and different and
That's right.
fresh, and it's by a fantastic director where there's a lot of anticipation. It's like, oh, I feel like I need to go see
It's
this.
an
in the
event.
You know,
theater.
it's interesting.
I need to go see this one in the theater because this feels different. Like,
yeah,
That's interesting you say that because with like Christopher Nolan, a lot of people now don't go to movies for an actor or for a director.
Mm-hmm.
But with him, what I think why people go is because they know it's going to be different.
exactly.
They don't know it's going to be the same.
They know it's gonna be.
They
Different.
know it's going to be unique.
Yeah.
yeah,
So like for some, you used to go because you know what to expect.
yeah,
I go now because I know I can't expect
Yeah.
anything. It's
Yeah.
going to be new.
Exactly.
So-
he's probably one director that I'd be like, I'm going because it's him.
Yeah. And you know
because
it's going to be
he usually
something
something
different.
you've never seen before.
He usually does get like a loaded cast and stuff because he's a big name for directing, and his movies, traditionally always do well. So just the history of every movie being different, but also
Yeah.
me enjoying that each film that he comes
Yeah.
out with, I'm like, all right, Christopher Nolan's coming out with a new movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
Something I thought about when you were saying that the state of the actual like fandom right now, whether it be Marvel or DC or Star Wars, it's not that. I mean, I think all three of those major, when you go superhero, and obviously Star Wars, none of them right now feel. There's maybe an argument that the DC, not just maybe an argument, but the DC EU with all their stuff always had more trouble kind of just getting the audience. That Marvel in its golden age of Marvel, through its first 22 movies, basically
Could
did it
throw
without
out
almost.
liter-
They almost
anything.
had like 22 home runs without a foul ball. Like
Yeah.
it was like
I have a
Rotten
theory on
Tomato
why that
score
is.
after Rotten Tomato score after Rotten Tomato score, and it was like so good leading up to obviously. the
And
Avengers,
you look at some of
Infinity
those
War, and
first
Endgame.
ones, even the ones that had the lower scores of those, where people were still making
So yeah, so
$1 billion.
and what happens though is
Crazy.
when you do make so much, obviously that's a historic. 22 without really like a big miss.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go obviously at the beginning, maybe like Iron Man 2 wasn't as great. There's some of these movies, but still they're like enjoyable movies. But they made money, and then later on they haven't made as much money if you look at some of the recent movies.
Yeah.
But one of the things that is always difficult when you do make more, because I remember just going back on our podcast a year or two ago, I remember being in a place where it's like, oh yeah, if I could get 2 Star Wars movies a year or 3 Star Wars movies a year like Marvel does, I would take that in a second. And I still would obviously
Still
be
want
there and
the
would do that.
stories and the content.
But there is also there is something about when it's so readily available, it
feels
loses
less
its
special.
rarity a little bit.
That's
and
right.
because of that, sometimes like I think that there's some for Star Wars movies, I think that, like, in reflecting, it's kind of good maybe that they went away for a little bit so people can get excited. Like, we are in the trenches of, if you're doing a Star Wars podcast, we're always excited for Star Wars.
Yeah.
But when they're making these movies, you have to also, do what's going to be enticing to the average movie-going audience who is not reading High Republic books. That are like, they like Star Wars. Most of them probably saw Star Wars growing up as a kid. Some of them like it to varying degrees. But it made me. What's funny is I saw a clip the other day. This was 2015, and this is something I was thinking about the fandom, and then we'll get into the specifics here. While I don't think my excitement from Star Wars has waned at all, I love it just as much as I've ever loved it, if not more. I do feel around me, like in the community, people being more down on it.
Yeah.
Or like you hear the negativity of it a lot more. You hear the negativity of it in Marvel a lot more, or negativity in DC a lot more. It's like a lot of people piling on to, oh no, here's this, and like people enjoying. We know Star Wars has been far from perfect. They've been, we'll say it, they've been flat out bad in a lot of areas of announcing movie dates.
Get them
and
off the show.
Wait. Of
did you get
announcing
on here?
movie dates and sticking to them. That's what I was
Okay,
gonna
that's
say. I don't
fair.
think
Everything else.
that we know. Even the
Your
most
pitchfork.
positive Star Wars fans
Yeah.
know that when a movie day is announced, we go,
Kill the
great.
beast.
Please fast forward to when I'm actually in the
Right.
theater watching it, because that's when I believe
That's
it'll
the
come
moment.
out at that time.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
But when talking about from a mass standpoint, I saw this clip the other day. It was 2015, and it was the end of I think it was just, I saw it on like Instagram or something, and it was an Obama press conference, and he's finishing his press conference saying, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go see Star Wars. And like he literally like and it was ending his thing. He's like, I gotta go see Star Wars. Yeah, have a good day. And it was like everyone was like, yeah, he's going to see Star Wars. It's the biggest thing in the world.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Where it just like the buzz, and again, that
And
was
nobody
there-
was watching the press conference
Not
anyway,
to-
'cause they
No,
were all at
they
Star
were
Wars.
already there.
They're already there. People are like they panned the crowd. And everyone's got Yoda ears on. And stuff.
They're in full cosplay,
They
just
turned-
listening to the
They turned to
press
Biden.
release.
They turned to Biden. Chewie he goes, "Arr." But he's just got his aviators on. No, but so there's things that are going to change. We're not going to have right now the same buzz as in 2015 when Star Wars has been gone,
Yeah.
and we
No, but
get
like
it
you're
again.
saying, I think with
But there
the,
is something of when you have so much of it that there's a lot of people I know that are Star Wars fans, friends of mine at church, people that I know that are like, oh, I love this, and I ask them like, oh, I haven't seen season 3 of Mando yet. I really loved the first season. I really loved the second season. There's just a lot of stuff I didn't get in.
oh yeah,
Or
yeah,
like
yeah.
I didn't see Obi-Wan. And I'm like, this is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Oh, I just didn't get around to it yet. And there's a lot because there's so much out there. Disney Plus is both a positive. I saw an article the other day about how the headline was studios cannibalizing themselves, talking about Disney not making as much money, especially when it comes to children's movies in the theaters, because people are just like, that's awesome, but you gave me Disney Plus
I'm
and told
already
me
paying
I
for
should
that.
watch Disney Plus, so I'm just gonna wait and watch it on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But then they're like, no. But then they're like, but the studio's like, no, go watch it there, but still pay for a Disney
Yeah.
Plus.
Right.
So it's tough because a lot of
Yeah.
people are just kind of, and ticket prices are more expensive than they've ever been. There's a lot of real world issues that go into why people aren't going to the movies as much.
Yeah. I do
You
think
know,
there's a
Any
little
thoughts on the movies before
yeah,
we
I think
move on?
there's a little bit of both. I think, like you were saying, like we kind of mentioned, there's definitely people that might look at it and be like, oh, I kind of know what that's about. That said, now that there has been a long time in between, I do think there is an built-up anticipation for the next Star Wars movie that I think even more so than just the next Marvel movie that comes out, there's going to be a crowd that goes to see it because it's been so
Yeah.
long now at this point, whenever it does come out, that even the people that, whether you loved the sequel trilogy or you dislike the sequel trilogy, you're a fan of Disney Star Wars or not, there's been such a gap now. By the time the next movie comes out, I think everybody's going to be, doesn't mean everyone's going to love it, but everyone's going to be excited to go see what it entails and what it's about, especially if there's now a different, I think people are eager for, they're ready for the the Skywalker saga to, now that it's over, and kind of change gears. Even if the next movie that comes out, whether it's the Mando movie or the Rey movie, it's going to have a different focus than just the traditional Skywalker line, storyline. So I think people are kind of ready for a change of gears as well, even if it's almost, I think of those as like a one-off. There's characters that overlap, but the Skywalkers aren't the main focus. And I think people are kind of ready for that change of gear. So that, with the time frame in between, I think people are going to be excited regardless.
Yeah,
I hope so. We are.
We're
Our
very
house,
excited.
Yeah.
my kids, we all are like,
Can't wait.
can't wait for another one. Every new one, we're watching it.
In the announcement
So-
of a Rey movie, we're big fans of the sequel trilogy. I'm like, shoot, give me that Rey movie as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Like, I'm obviously get the script right, do whatever you need to do, but I know some people are like, oh, just move on to a different time period. And I'm like, I both
me
want
both.
the different time period for sure, which is nice that they're announced like the James Mangold movie of doing
Yeah.
way back beginning
Dawn
of
of the
Dawn of the Jedi. But also there's something about when people saw, it's funny because Rey, we've only had Rey in 3 movies. And some people are like, oh, just move on to new characters. After Return of the Jedi, if they announced, hey, we're actually going to do more the next Star Wars
why?
movie, more Luke.
What's
Just move on, dude. And they, for some reason, they're like surfer, skater, rocker
Yeah.
guys now in the back.
That's how they are.
Move on, dude.
That's the entire
Gnarly.
X-verse, they
Yeah.
formerly
No,
known
I'm
as
excited
Twitterverse.
to
That's
see-
it. Expert.
That's
expert.
I am excited to see, like, with Rey coming back, how will it be different and her not be the focus? Have there be a different main character, but her still having obviously an involvement because
Yeah.
there's a
We'll
lot
see. We'll see if
there's a
she's
lot
the
of
main
fans of
character or
Rey.
not.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
We'll
think she
see.
might be the main character still, or one of the main characters.
maybe
We'll see.
I think she could be
That'd
one
be
of them.
cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
she's 15. Supposed to be 15 years after.
Yeah.
So they're just going to
close.
they're going to wait 15 years
Close. They will.
before they make this. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think you guys are total. You're MCU. You watch all of those things.
I am Mike.
I
Oh, sorry.
I don't. I
Although
don't.
my friends call me MCU.
MCU. They call me MCU. I like to rock the mic. My name is Mike. I rock all the time. No, it's the
We
old
need to
guy.
clip
The
that
old
and
guy
post that
rap.
Joke, love
We
it.
need to close it.
Clip it.
I forgot about.
Joe's got
Where's
it.
our producer?
I don't know. Producer less. No, but I see people that are. I can see where there are people that aren't Star Wars huge Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
I see myself kind of that way on MCU.
Yeah. Yeah.
So for me to go to a Marvel movie, it's gonna have to be something unique.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
It's to
Oh
be
yeah.
or tap
I'm
into
closer
something
I'm closer
that
to
I.
that than I am to Star Wars. I'm like meaning I'm
Yeah.
closer to your position than I am to Star Wars, where it's like if it's Star Wars related, Star Wars adjacent, I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
Like, I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like
Completely.
Infinity
Like,
War
I'm still
got me
behind on some
totally
of
in there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Just went and saw that one,
Completely
but I
agree.
wouldn't see
Completely
all
agree.
of them. So
the,
kind of depending on who is involved and what the story is, will I think
Yeah.
dictate.
And I'll be honest, after Infinity War, like I am less interested because naturally some of the main characters that I loved are not a part of it.
And I remember
anymore.
watching
Yeah.
that thinking, how you can't
Yeah.
go bigger?
Yeah.
What are
I
you gonna
know.
do
How
after
do you-
this?
I
What
know.
can you possibly?
Oh, yeah.
It's hard
Yeah.
to then.
But I'm hoping. I
then
think Star
switch.
Wars now is kind of like elections. You get your base. Your base is in. It's if you can get into
gotta get
moderates
the-
and independents. If you can get those people into the movie, it's going to be a hit.
Yeah.
If you don't, we're gonna love it, and a lot of other people aren't going to see
Maybe
it.
that's the new Get Out to Vote campaign.
Get
is-
out the vote.
is go into your ballot box and watch the new Star Wars
Watch
movie
the
and
Star
cast your vote. It'll slow things up a lot.
It's
You
okay
got to
though.
watch a whole movie before you cast
But
your
it's
vote.
but it's
True.
But you want to go, we're going to go see Star Wars
Star Wars.
after you make sure you don't have a hanging Chad.
Hanging Chad.
Anymore, but
Ask Chad what he thinks of that.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a throwback reference right
I
there.
think.
Chad.
Chad.
Yeah,
Well, let's not leave
All right.
Chad
Chad
hanging
hanging.
here, and let's
Oh.
actually talk about some of the
talk about the
Yeah.
things.
Another
thing.
Shows.
some shows that are coming out in 2024. So here's our
20?
rundown.
24.
Which is crazy is actually now. Like
It's
that's
a
this
real
year.
date.
I'm
Yeah.
saying 2024 as if that's in 2024. This is coming
Eventually,
out.
that date
It's
will
also
come.
known as
Here.
this year.
Yeah.
So the lineup that they have officially announced now, not that they just announced
Coming.
Here.
This is announced for this year.
2024.
Coming out this year.
2024.
The Acolyte, and we'll get into specifics on these, but The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, those are the two live actions, and then you've got Bad Batch season 3, and Tales of the
Yes.
Jedi season 2, and then I forgot to include on here also the Young Jedi Adventures
Yep.
show as well.
And the Outlaws video game.
Outlaws video
By the
game.
way.
Outlaws
That's
video
true.
game.
That is true.
Late or sometime.
Yeah, no, that's part of it as well. So of these, we'll say of these 4 right now, the Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, Bad Batch Season 3, Tales of the Jedi Season 2, we're excited probably for all of them. Is there one of those, or is there any of those that when you read that you're like, oh, I'm actually most excited for this? Uncle?
Let's vote. Who says
Are you most excited?
on the table right now is Acolyte? Are you most excited for Acolyte above the others? 1, 2, 3.
Oh,
Hey.
Acolyte! I
Really?
can't wait for Acolyte.
I had a thought. I wanted to.
Wait,
I-
let's hear it.
Well, no, I had a thought that might be.
Yeah.
Oh, that might be
Is that thing of
unanimous.
me? I wonder, and I thought that'd be an interesting
And
reveal.
if we did Bad Batch Season 2, I think that might be my next. Even though
Second-
Tales of
I
the
think
Jedi,
so.
I'm very excited about. That was the first one was great.
Yeah,
I think we forget, maybe not us 3, but in general, how great Bad Batch Season 2 was, especially its
Bad
last
Batch
like 6 or
Season
7
2
episodes.
was a roller coaster because the beginning of it, we're like, guys, not my favorite. Where's it going?
probably the end of the show.
I don't have
Yeah, we
any.
said it feels like.
I don't have it. Yeah, it's probably going to be the last season.
Yeah.
The last like 5 episodes were like, this is the best Star Wars content we've had in years. Give us more.
Yeah. I kept seeing Omega and thinking, oh no.
Ekar.
During Bad Batch season, Eli's always talking with an Australian accent.
That's so good. Ekar.
Ekar.
Tick. Bad Batch Season Tick. Oh,
Rekka.
remember?
Rekka.
Do you remember what
I
happened
know.
to Tick?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
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 That would be
That
my
show was
second.
great. That especially the scientists. I need to catch up on everybody's names again. Do you remember
Everything.
all the tests.
Got to
and stuff?
rewatch it.
Do you remember when we thought this was all leading, and maybe it still is, but like the cloning from Bad Batch, the cloning from Mando. We've got season 3 of Mando. We actually got cloning of that led to obviously Moff Gideon's cloning, but
Yeah.
the Snoke side of it that we were predicting for a long time, the connection there.
It's gonna lead to Snoke.
know.
That
It just led to
Cross
Andy
Still
Serkis.
could,
It
I
led to
guess.
Andy Serkis as Kino Loy.
It did. It still could, I guess. We'll find out.
Acolyte. We are.
but
I am
Acolyte,
so excited
can't
for
wait.
So
a
excited. I think, but
for
it's like you said though.
dark side based.
It's like you said earlier. Part of the reason why I find myself most excited for it is because it feels the most different
It's very
than
different.
something we've had,
Yeah.
at least recently. It feels different.
Yeah.
Are they
So
gonna
I'm
break?
excited to see what that looks like.
Are they gonna break their own rules? Can you make a dark side
Well,
show without giving
With
hope?
hope.
What
at the
I
end.
heard, I don't know if you
I
guys
hope
are
not.
into samurai movies at all, but what I heard from people at Celebration who saw the footage that they showed at Celebration, I heard someone the other day who said, "Oh, just wait for this trailer. Think Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in Star Wars. Like that's the feel of
man.
it. Is that it is so samurai, mythical, all of this stuff, but they're like the action is shot in a way
my
we've never
goodness.
seen
Jedi
before.
Wookiee, High Republic.
There's so much of it's so entrenched in the Jedi and the dark side and the light and the dark and all this stuff that it's like it's just going to be so cool. I
Okay,
think.
on to their defense, I would argue that we don't have to make every movie, every show end
Yeah.
with hope because the whole thing is set
Yeah.
in it.
Exactly.
Empire has a pretty dark. It doesn't end.
Well,
No.
Revenge of the
hope.
Sith.
It ends.
No.
If Revenge of the Sith came
Right.
out before the original trilogy,
doesn't-
it would end it and be like, that was atrocious.
Awful.
I mean,
That's exactly
Empire
right.
ends
So
with-
it.
I
yeah.
mean, the kids are born at the end, and that's the only hope aspect is that
Mhm.
we know, okay, it's ending, but it's only because we knew who they were.
that only.
yeah.
Yeah.
It ended with Luke and Leia, who we already knew their story.
Mhm.
So they're like, okay, there's the hope because we already know where this is going.
Padme's
Empire,
dead.
But with,
yeah.
if that came
Vader,
out first, we'd be
they're
like,
all-
this is
Obi
terrible.
Wan's hiding. Yoda's
It's
hiding. The
pretty
Jedi
rough,
are all
yeah.
dead.
Yeah.
Empire
Big
ends
hopeful
with
ending.
yeah. Empire ends with Han Solo being turned into a popsicle. Like it's not,
true.
It's not great as far as
Talk about hope. We didn't even know if Harrison Ford was
Luke-
coming back.
Luke. Yeah,
Didn't.
real world stuff. Luke loses his hand, and his hand.
His
See it
hand
there?
and his hand. He
His
is
hand, his
Han
hand.
Solo and
Um,
Han Solo.
Can you pass me a hand? Hand? A hand?
Hey Luke, can you give me a hand with this? Sorry, kid.
Sorry, get him a popsicle.
You only got one left. Keep that one.
So no, I'm with you on that.
We're hopeful. We want to see.
I don't think it has to be.
We want to go to the dark side.
Yeah, I don't.
We go right to the dark around
You can
here.
also have a show that leans darker.
Mhm.
That then is what comes, like you said, what comes after.
Yeah.
There's even if the Acolyte ends with Darth Plagueis taking over, and he's death and destruction and this or this whatever, and you're like, oh,
We
gosh,
still
this
know
is
what's
rough.
coming.
Except we
True.
do
Speaking
know,
of
we know
dark
what's
side, we got
coming.
Darth in the chat. Hello there. Welcome.
Darth.
Welcome. You don't know the power of Acolyte.
The Acolyte.
Only Master of Evil doth.
Yeah, I'm
Which
excited.
is your
for
first
this.
name.
I'm excited, but yeah, I mean, it's gonna be it feels different. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. We don't
and
know
even
what to
though I
expect from
love
Skeleton
even
Crew.
though I love Bad
I have no idea.
Batch and Tales of the Jedi,
Jude Law's in it.
love Bad Batch, love Tales of the Jedi. Naturally I'm excited for things that I don't know
Mhm.
about.
Yeah.
I would say even though I don't necessarily know, I still have the vibe and the feel of Bad Batch.
Mm-hmm.
Even though Tales of the Jedi is going to be different stories we haven't seen, I have a vibe of what that show is like, jumping from different
Right.
stories, and I love both of them. So I'm like super excited. But there is part of you that is, or at least for me, that anticipates what I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I have no idea what Skeleton Crew is about. No idea what Acolyte it really is going to dive all into.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, I'm excited for those things because I don't know what to expect.
And those diversions are so important because when we divert off on that path, coming back to Rey, we get a little familiar, we get a
Yeah.
little new, a little
True.
familiar, so it'll help.
Exactly. This
Yeah.
might sound negative,
Boo!
and if so, that's my intent.
I am trying to hurt people.
No, the how does that?
That
sound
is
negative?
my goal.
Once you
I
finish
want
this, we'll have
make
to address
people
this
feel
was
question.
just okay. This will be quick. I think right now I am more. I am more excited for Acolyte than I am for like the next
Mando.
whatever's coming for Mando.
Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
nothing against Mando because I think Mando's been great, but also naturally, season 4 of something you're usually more excited for something that's new.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've all said, like, as much as we love Mando a ton, season 3, if I was to rank the 3 seasons of Mando, is probably my third out of the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though there's some of the some maybe of some of the best moments in season 3 as well. But that just, I think when we're talking about progressing on something and staying on it and it's awesome, but then also a nice jump to something new. That's kind of a good example of like, I love Mando. Give me more Mando. Give me more of what's coming in Ahsoka.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I like that it's not the next thing. It's not
Yeah.
that we're now just waiting until they make the next season of Ahsoka so we can see what happens next. In the meantime, we've already been making these other shows,
Mhm.
and we're going to get it because we're going to get what happens with Ahsoka. Or we're going to get what happens with Thrawn and all that stuff probably in the Mando movie.
Yeah.
Or Ahsoka movie or whatever's. Is it the same movie?
Mandoverse.
The Mandoverse movie.
Yeah.
So I'm excited. I'm super excited. Nate, what's the question?
Darth in the chat. What was the best Star Wars moments in 2023 for you guys?
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah. It's good to look back as we look forward. I think that's
Yes.
a great thing.
What is time? I don't remember what was in 2023. Like, I'm
World
trying to think
Between
of
Worlds.
Ahsoka. I can't put any. It's hard for me
Oh.
to think of something more
Yeah.
powerful
I know it is.
than even the. Well,
Yep.
you might have a different idea.
I'm just saying yep because I'm agreeing with you.
I still think the Ahsoka series in general was among my favorite moments.
Same. I think in
Hayden
the Ahsoka
Christensen.
series, the Hayden Christensen
The whole
Moments,
thing with
I
Hayden
mean,
and
is to me the Hayden,
Rosario, that
when
maybe
I
that
think of-
moment, the series, I think in
Yes,
general, but
But that specific episode of the cutting
me-
between the different times and
that was amazing.
touching on the Clone Wars and
Yeah.
Rebels moments.
Yeah,
Man.
to me that is as
Jason.
special. To me that's as special as the Luke Skywalker showing up in Mando moment. That I think that the reaction to the Luke Skywalker was way bigger across the board,
'Cause-
maybe like
because people
worldwide
just didn't
as far
expect
as
it
like
to happen.
it was just
we
a
thought it was
shocking
Mace.
thing. We thought it had to be.
with
make
this,
sense.
I thought they
Why
We're
would
gonna
they-
train the kid. Yeah,
with Hayden. They delivered with Hayden, and we knew he was in the show. Like
Yeah.
Luke, we had no idea.
Yeah,
It was
they-
a
No
secret.
idea.
So
known.
that's part of what made it
was such a
so
shock.
crazy because it
The
was such a
surprise.
shock.
The
We
surprise.
thought there's no way we could get Luke.
And yet, in some ways, the Hayden is as special, if not more special, because it's the return of also the actor that we know. Like
right.
the Mark Hamill and everything they did for not just
yeah.
in that Mando moment, but then later in Book of Boba Fett is incredible. And it's as close as you can get, but we know that it's Mark Hamill being a part of the process,
Mm-hmm.
creating what looks like a young Luke Skywalker. But seeing Hayden Christensen, who we know by a lot of accounts was super underappreciated and was kind of
Yeah.
put in a tough spot because you can only go off the dialogue you're given and the direction you're given. And
Mm-hmm.
like
hearing
like
him
Uncle
talk
has
about coming
referenced-
back.
like
and-
you've referenced in other movies, he's been great in other roles.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's also just hasn't done a ton of acting since then. And him coming back, I love not just, I mean, first of all, he's playing a style and an era of Anakin we haven't seen before in
Mhm.
live action, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Because he's playing Matt Lanter's Clone Wars Anakin, basically. Like,
Yeah.
and he uses some of the mannerisms and even like snips and these things. Is like, I felt like this was this blend of multiple eras of Star Wars I love so much, while also seeing the guy who I want to be appreciated more act his butt off and do great. And it also inspired him. Where like it announced soon after the show that he like signed with a new agency, all that, and he's like
Yeah.
really.
Mhm.
It sounds like starting up his career again, which is just exciting
Yeah.
to see
Yeah.
across the board.
Yeah.
But that's a moment. I think that's probably the best moment for me.
Do you have a different one?
No,
It's
that's
hard
the
to beat.
same. That's the same
hard
for
to
me.
beat.
Hayden Christensen coming back and like
Yeah.
really coming back and also just getting a lot more of him on screen than I even expected.
Yeah.
Like he was a huge part of it, not just a couple episodes. I mean, he was even in the other moments where they show the hologram messages and stuff. It's him
Yeah.
in the Clone Wars era armor and stuff like that. Like we got way more Hayden Christensen than I expected. So
It's not my favorite moment, but the last episode of Bad Batch is a powerful.
Oh yeah,
oh yeah,
That was powerful.
Definitely.
Like, whoa, caught you by surprise.
yeah.
It
Yep.
was- It's hard to
That was
call
awesome.
it a favorite moment, but
I can't even remember. Was
Powerful.
Bad Batch 2023 or 22?
yeah, wasn't it spring
I
of this?
think so.
Spring of this.
When was
past year?
Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan was
I'm getting my years confused. I think.
Bad Batch was spring of 23, right?
Spring of
Wasn't it
23,
early
maybe?
last year?
Yeah,
I
when
think perhaps.
Wasn't
was
it?
Is that
Obi-Wan?
right? I don't know. Was Obi-Wan 2022?
I don't remember. Chad,
'Cause I'm
Chad, what's your guys' favorite
can't
moment?
remember.
2023. Let us know.
Because Andor wasn't 2020.
Andor was 22,
22.
Andor
And I
was
think
22.
Obi-Wan was
Obi-Wan
also 22.
early
right?
22. Was it?
Was spring 22 maybe?
I putting Bad
I
Batch
don't
in the
know.
wrong year. I thought it was last year. I
I
thought it was
think you
this
might
past
be
year.
right. I think you might be right.
Maybe
I
not.
don't remember.
I just can't remember if we're getting Bad Batch. That would mean we're getting Bad Batch in back-to-back years, which we maybe are.
Which we did because we got. They didn't skip a year the first year, did
Yeah,
they?
maybe you're right.
Bad Batch has been.
You know what? I think maybe you're right.
I don't know.
I don't know, but we'll have to look at the time
Either
frame.
way,
Yeah,
I think
Either
Bad
way,
Batch needs to be
fantastic.
appreciated, whether it was this year or last year.
for sure.
I love
But
it.
yes, that last episode was
Powerful.
powerful. Powerful.
Very cool.
Man, Hayden Christensen coming back.
So
It's awesome.
one thing that is not coming out in 2024 is Andor season 2.
Yeah.
Which they have.
Yep.
They have pushed it back. I think that I know there's a number of actual, like real world reasons. The strikes. I know that they were in the middle of filming when the strikes happened,
Yeah.
and a lot of people at home might not know that when these strikes, when something like that happens, and there's a disruption for a couple months or a few months or however long it is. These actors don't just go away and then they go, all right, go back to work. Oh, nice. I just go back in because
Because they already have
other stuff already contractually
planned
obligated.
ahead. Yeah.
that
When they come back,
now
they're on something else already.
They're on something else. So it's studio. Sometimes it's a big delay. I mean, I remember reading a bunch of
Yeah.
articles about one of my favorite shows of all time, Arrested Development, when they were coming out with new seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch Hurwitz, the creator, said by far the biggest challenge is that all these people have blown up into stars.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, it took a year to get Michael Cera available to do anything because around that time, it's like
Yeah.
after
Making-
Arrested Development, he does Superbad and he does all these movies and Scott Pilgrim and all these different things that blow up and are huge movies that they're like, you're trying to match the schedules of Jason Bateman, Will Arnett, David
All those
Cross,
people.
all these
Those
guys.
guys aren't doing anything. That was
You're
easy.
like, yeah. Well, now
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
all just podcasting.
That's true. Now they're just
That's
Now
podcasting.
they're all
true.
just
That's
podcasting.
true.
They're like, we'll come as long as we can do an episode on
I can't
set.
believe he's made more from the Smartless podcast than he has from all
He
of his
says it
career
is.
combined.
I love the Smartless podcast, and he
And it
said
is a
it
great
is by
podcast.
far the most lucrative thing he's ever been. This is a guy who just started in like
It's the
6
most
seasons of
successful
Ozark
thing he's
as
ever
the
done.
lead. And
Oh,
it's like,
yeah.
I didn't even seen
Who grew up
Ozark,
on the
but
Warner.
Warner
Haven't
Brothers
seen
parking
Ozark?
I haven't seen Ozark.
So I
I've seen like one episode, but we were in the middle of watching other.
dipped my
shows.
toe in the water, and then that was it, man.
Yeah.
Just had to watch it. It's so
Oh,
good.
I thought you were saying
I
you
thought you
dipped
were
your toe,
saying
and it was
and I
the
had
water
enough.
was
It
too cold.
Froze
I
my
have
toe off. my little
delicate
Ozark
skin.
toes.
I have delicate
dipped.
skin.
And then he jumped right
No,
in.
it was.
folks, I love
it's good.
board, deep end, sink like a stone. Come on.
Come on.
It's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I've heard it's great.
good.
It is not your father's Jason. It was not. It is not.
Is that your
yeah.
your
it's not. What show was he on? Family. No,
family ties?
That
Fa-
was. That was.
that was Michael.
That was
That was Justine. Wait. Wait a second. Oh, what's the spoon?
Silver Spoons. That was Ricky Schroeder. Ricky Schroeder.
Wait a second. I think Jason Bateman's in one of those.
He might have been on it as a
Come on. Listen, this
Family
if,
Ties.
if not, that would
Family
be good.
Ties. Is Michael J. Fox.
No, the Michael J. Fox
Justine
Family Ties.
Bateman. Come on.
Wait a second. I don't want to be wrong.
What's the
You might
show?
be.
I don't like being wrong.
He was in and out of all of these shows and that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. Let me just.
But,
people
but
people are
Smartless.
watching.
Look it up. I know.
Smartless, most
Crazy.
lucrative.
Said it's by far the most lucrative.
It also
Crazy.
looks like just an enjoyable
It's amazing and
time.
incredibly sad at the same time. No, I'm just.
It's sad that he's been underpaid for so.
Did you
long.
watch?
just sit
they
around
had,
doing
they had
this.
the Smartless documentary that came out. Oh,
It's
I
gotta
great.
have
It's
to
really
see it.
cool.
behind the scenes and
Oh,
stuff of them.
man.
I mean, they show some of the episodes too.
Silver
like, so they'll-
Spoons, 21
Silver
episodes.
Spoons. There you go.
They show some of their
Little
live
House on the
tour.
Prairie, though, his first ever role.
Little House. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he's
they
in a
show
lot of
some of the
stuff.
live tour that they went on. So they
Mhm.
actually show a lot of their stuff from that too.
Yeah.
He
Each
makes-
episode, but it's
He makes fun of Teen Wolf 2 a lot, which he started.
There
a
you
lot
go.
of
Teen
behind the
Wolf
scenes
2.
of them traveling. It's
I
just
have to look it up.
you watch them and you're like, they're just always on. Like they're always just even when they're
It's
on
funny.
stage or they're recording, it's just them, just those three, and it's
Well, they're
hilarious.
also
it's
what-
hilarious.
So, Sean Hayes, Will Arnett, and Jason Bateman are their like lifelong best friends. I mean, I know Will Arnett and Jason obviously go back to Arrested Development, but Sean apparently somehow in that time, like 20 plus years, they're like best friends to the point where they're like, oh yeah, what are we still doing like on the podcast? They're like, yeah, so invited Willie to dinner on Saturday, and he's a no show again, and oh well, yeah, and they're like, well, Sean came over, and Sean's like, hello, Sean's always doing show tune stuff, but they're like having dinner at each other's house and stuff throughout the week, and they're all like best friends,
Yeah.
and then
It's
basically
funny.
we're talking about good podcasts, so. What are we doing with our
God.
What are we doing here?
What are we
But-
doing with our podcast?
No, it's
Casting pod.
So if we have to choose, putting Acolyte at the top, Then we got,
Smartless. We have
Smartless in there.
Smartless.
Most excited for.
I don't know.
Smartless
The
next.
rest, I think I'm pretty even. I think Acolyte is by far my most.
Ooh,
Me
even
too.
though for
Yeah.
Bad Batch, are you actually?
I think I am because
I
as
think
much as I
because-
love
because
Bad
Tales-
Batch,
Tales of the
I
Jedi is
love Tales of the
Me
Jedi.
too.
I want to
Me
get a
too.
little.
And
Tales of
Skeleton
the
Crew, I
Sith.
just don't know what to expect. So.
Skeleton Crew. I think that could be a sleeper surprise, just because
Real quick,
I like the concept.
real quick.
Real slow.
What are some possible Tales of the Jedi things we would like to see?
Oh
We
man.
don't have to spend long on it, but I was thinking about this the other day. Of, what Tales of the Jedi did really well is
Well, obviously Mace
showed-
Windu after the fall.
they
Yeah.
showed Ahsoka.
Sure.
They showed Ahsoka, but they also gave us Dooku going to the dark side, and connected to that, you had some
Oh,
some
I got-
Qui-Gon,
wow.
and you had things like that. What would you like to see? Because if it is still Tales of the Jedi,
I know.
you can't technically do a Palpatine one because Palpatine was never a Jedi.
Never a
Yeah.
Jedi.
Fell. That would be
Yeah.
more Tales of the
Filoni would call.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't.
Yeah.
Sith. He would say
That would be a different
Nope.
show.
Ben Solo. I'll throw it out there.
Tales of the Palps.
I want to see Ben Solo
Ben Solo.
as far as
Why couldn't we get Luke Skywalker?
I think we should.
Some
A
Luke
little
and Ben.
post return. Some
We can
Luke,
get some
Ben.
Luke.
Yeah.
I think that's the way to do it because I don't think
That'd be
I
great.
think we've seen our last Mark Hamill appearance.
But there's still there's
Of,
still so much time between that gap of stuff with Luke that it could be some adventure he went on that touches on maybe a comic and stuff that's already been out
That's right.
that they're
Also, it
they're
made headlines this
elaborating
week.
on.
For
It
sure.
made headlines this week, but Adam Driver said he's definitely not returning to Star Wars as
He's
far
out.
as which some people are like, yeah, because I'm like, no, he's dead.
Yeah,
died.
if you
Right.
go look
Like,
at
if
his
you-
quote,
he
he
wasn't
actually
negative
says,
about
he
it.
goes, well, yeah, my character died. Like, why
Yeah.
would I
What would
expect
I
him to
be
come back?
doing? Right.
And of course, some people do that. They say he said he's never returning, but Ray's coming back. Well, Ray's alive.
right.
He's alive.
If you follow
This-
the story,
There's
but
a
nobody's
reason
ever
why.
really gone.
Nobody's ever really gone,
Yeah.
except for the ones
Except
that
for the
are.
ones
Except
that
for the ones that are
yeah.
that are dead.
Except for the ones who get lightning struck and fall off a building. The same building, the same style of building in the same city that Obi-Wan and Anakin are just free falling.
Free falling,
and
man.
Just
Free
landing
falling.
on.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right,
yeah.
free falling. Free
Uh,
falling on.
hmm.
Free falling on.
Let's see. We could get some Sabine, some Ezra.
Ooh, could add some interesting
True, that's
I
true.
don't know.
Plo Koon.
Plo Koon.
Let's go.
I like it. Let's go.
True.
Let's.
I like a Plo and Filoni. That wouldn't surprise
no.
me.
not
that's
at all.
a good example.
That'd be great.
I think we could have characters like that are adjacent to the main. Like I loved what we got with Yaddle.
Yeah.
Like that was
That's
Bryce
kinda
Dallas
what I
Howard.
think.
as
Yeah, that was
Yaddle.
great.
It wasn't a Yaddle episode, and yet it kind of was.
Yeah.
Because it was a Dooku episode.
Mhm.
Dooku.
That was great. That Dooku episode, the music,
So
everything
good.
is just. I've rewatched that a dozen times already.
I read
I love
read
it.
something about Filoni with Yaddle's non-Yoda speak,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that he wanted to make that not species specific but character specific, that only Yoda. Now there's some other books where
Yeah.
I think in one of the books Yaddle speaks with the
'Cause
Yoda.
Because Luke even touches on it in Boba Fett.
He's spoken
Spoken
riddles.
riddles.
Spoken riddle. Yeah, he's like
Yeah.
master spoken riddles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
that was a deliberate thing to make Yoda
Yeah.
special.
Yeah.
I love it.
I do like that. I like it. But yeah, Yaddle. Yaddle was good. I
Anything?
wonder, could we get some more of those prequel characters? Like, could we get Anakin or Obi-Wan or I don't know.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what are because we
Or
got
have we
so
already
much
got
of
most of
animated
them?
Anakin
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Obi-Wan.
I wonder if
Yeah.
that it feels like that show is kind of designed to talk about, to go in directions that we haven't ever.
It's your missing
Yeah.
pieces. You're filling the gaps.
Filling
I
the
Give me
think.
a
connections,
Sifo
definitely.
Dyas.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool.
Sifo Dyas.
Sifo
yeah.
Dyas with the cloning.
10 years ago.
What actually went down there?
That would be cool.
That would be
Actually
really
see it.
cool.
Sifo Dyas.
We could. I think we could do a Yoda. We could do, although this is maybe where Acolyte's going, so maybe they wouldn't touch on it. But in the way that they had Yaddle, or that they had these other characters, these opposing forces to the main character of the story, like you had Dooku and you had Yaddle. While we can't have a focused episode, I think on young Palpatine or Plagueis, because they're not Jedi in this Tales
Mhm.
of the Jedi. You could focus on some Jedi that are around during that time, and that would be a way to introduce
That's right.
something that's going on there, or
Behind the
something behind
scenes.
the scenes, and you could
Mhm.
you could have, because what the novels, I think it's James Luceno who wrote it. What the novels have shown in recent years is that Plagueis was actually around and in Palpatine's ear and still alive through the events of Episode 1,
It's not that long.
Yeah.
which is crazy because when you hear the story, you think, "Oh, this
Oh,
was
long
Palpatine
time
as
ago.
a child,"
hmm
and you're like, "No, this is Palpatine 10 years ago."
Mhm.
And he's like,
Not that long ago.
ironic.
Yeah.
You could
The
say about
betrayal
it for
happened
himself. You're
in
like,
a
no, this
time
happened.
frame that we
This
know.
happened in a period that we saw the
Yeah.
movie.
Yeah,
We just didn't know what was happening behind the scenes.
it's really cool.
So it'd be cool
Good.
to see something like that.
Good.
Yeah.
I
don't know.
Yeah. Could.
Luckily, it's not up to us. Other Filoni's
I
gonna
wonder if
figure
they
it
would
out.
ever jump time periods and do like a young Yoda at the age of like 800, like High Republic.
I mean,
Yeah.
they did
instead of 900.
They did a
That would be
young.
good.
They
would be
did
great.
A youthful
We
Yoda.
talked about the
grade
Ahsoka.
school Yoda.
We had an Ahsoka
800.
origin story in the Tales of Jedi.
Yeah, Ahsoka.
Yeah.
Why
is
couldn't we
big.
have a Yoda?
So if there's a Yoda, because it is an area that we know from the High Republic, we know he's been around. We obviously have some of those stories, but if they touched on a little thing and it's Yoda around that time frame, it'd be cool.
So we'll probably get him in the Acolyte.
Yeah, we might.
Might. I mean,
how could you? How could you not?
right? I mean, if
Yeah.
they're saying this is Jedi Council,
Even
all
if
the
it's
stuff,
just a little
we know
bit,
he's
and it's
around.
him sending them out on a
Yeah.
mission or something.
Well,
could.
best teacher failure is that's Yoda's. He's going all the way back to Acolyte.
We
I
get
messed
Yaddle
up.
in that sense.
I messed
too.
up at the beginning of this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This didn't happen
Maybe.
overnight. I
Maybe.
mean,
So because of that, with
Exactly.
Acolyte coming up, maybe they do try to tie in a Yoda story around there with
think that would be awesome.
Tales of the Jedi.
that'd be cool.
Are we ever gonna get Yoda training Obi-Wan, the master who trained me? Are we ever gonna get that? Or are they just gonna kind of
Qui-Gon sitting there
push
going,
that off to the
Yeah.
side?
Qui-Gon
kinda
raised
I
Alpha.
think they'll push it.
Qui-Gon wakes
It's
up
just
from
going to be
his
him
force.
as a youngling
because
Yeah.
because he trained every youngling.
You
Yeah,
got
could
Qui-Gon
be.
wakes up from his forced nap going, I'm sorry,
You
Obi-Wan?
stole my
Who?
Padawan?
Who trained you?
Yeah.
He's like, I took a saber through the gut. Back before that was
And you're
even
giving
cool
Yoda
to
the
take
credit?
sabers to the gut and survive. I went down with
What
that.
if
I
there
was
was
the
a
first-
yeah? What if there was a young
Yeah.
Obi-Wan, like a young Obi-Wan?
Yeah,
like a little Annie. Him.
that'd
Basically.
be cool. I would like to see that.
He mentioned a brother and stuff. What if we got that of
wow.
him going into the Order?
You know what I'd like to
That'd be
see
cool.
also is some of the Shadow of the Sith book. Animate that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Give us young Rey, young Luke.
True,
Yeah.
young Rey.
Tie in Lando into it because it's not. It doesn't mean that it's Tales of the Jedi, but when Lando and Luke are doing stuff
Yeah,
together,
they're in there.
hunting Ochi of
Yeah.
Bastoon,
Yeah.
it'd be cool to see. Actually,
Does that
on-
not
on-
sound like a Trump name? Say it.
Ochi of Bastoon. Bastoon, which I know some of the Bastoons.
The Bastoon.
You're like, what's a stoon?
Ochi. Ochi.
It's like China. Ochi.
Ochi. Ochi.
Why is it just why is this?
You're mispronouncing hypothetical Trump.
I was like, I was
comments.
watching, I was watching a clip, Norm Macdonald on Conan clip the other day, and he was talking to Conan, and he goes, "Listen, Conan." And Conan goes, Conan goes,
Conan.
Conan is and then Norm immediately smiles. Conan, sorry, I know your name is Conan,
Which is all an
Conan.
act.
Yeah,
All
he-
an act. Yeah.
Conan. That's why he
So
says
good.
Conan.
I turn
I
on
do like him more.
turn on the TV. It's
TV.
the TV. Conan. He called it a what do you call it? Doberman. A Doberman.
A Doberman.
He's
A Doberman.
doing this intentionally because he knows it's
Yeah.
A
hilarious.
Doberman.
We
But,
got stuff in the chat says, "Are we ever gonna get Old Republic?"
Isn't that Knights of the Old Republic reboot game? I think I
They're
heard
not
that.
doing
I
that?
think as of now, the latest rumors have it potentially being kaputs.
Cowards.
But yeah, I don't
Mm.
know. Maybe another studio or something will pick it up. You never know.
Like Marvel.
Hey.
Yeah.
There's an idea.
Avengers of the Old Republic. No,
I
yeah,
would love it.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
I
yeah.
played-
So.
I played Knights of the Old Republic.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Love Knights. Love Knights.
It's one of the great Star Wars stories.
So yeah, I don't. I
Vibroblade. This is
wonder,
the first time I've heard of Vibroblade. Was
Yeah.
in-
yeah.
yeah.
I wonder what stories we'll get with Tales of the Jedi.
They
We'll
could go
see.
anywhere with that. They could.
They could. A lot of freedom with that, which is
Yeah.
nice. And it's not there's not pressure to tell a huge long ongoing story. It's a little snippet,
Yeah.
tell a story.
Yeah.
We can move on to a different one. So
Mhm.
it's kind of cool.
Well, overall, I'm excited. I'm excited. I think that me personally, as a fan, I've had to adjust over the last couple of years with the lack of movies. But we've been getting so many shows. It's not like I'm sitting there going, "Oh, we have no." I mean, this right now is actually we're currently sitting in the longest period without any Star
Without
Wars
anything,
content
yeah.
that we've had since. Well, I wouldn't say since the Disney acquisition because there wasn't Disney Plus right away.
Right.
It was like when the movie comes out. Now wait till next Christmas we'll get a movie
Yeah.
and just kind of sit with the movie, and just rewatch the movies, which is awesome. But it's an adjustment now where we don't have the movies coming out quite as frequently, which I think, to be honest, especially with the state of all the movie stuff, I am in the camp now of take your time, get it right, do like I'm gonna be there, I'm gonna be in the theater opening night whenever it comes out, but do something you're really confident in. Like I like it when movies take big swings.
Yeah.
I mean, there's something we were talking about Nolan. Nolan never plays it safe.
Mm-mm.
Nolan's also a brilliant director where he knows he doesn't know financially how it's going to do, but he knows when he has
He's
a
confident
firm
in the
grasp
story,
of if
he's
the movie's
confident.
working
Story I wanna
and
tell.
stuff. But we are excited always from seeing something that I think that the creators are passionate about. Not something like, oh, I feel, sometimes you can tell when a movie's like, oh, I wonder if I mean, this is nothing against them, but how many times has Zack Snyder said afterwards, like in other movies, like, yeah, the studio interfered, I didn't get to do the movie I wanted to do. Like, there's a lot of studios that do that, and I'm not saying Disney is doing that. I'm just excited for whoever the directors are, because they've announced directors, they've announced new stories. Come in, have your vision.
Yeah.
Let's see it. I'm excited for new Star Wars, whether it's new and familiar or
Right.
new and
Come in,
new
New
and
and
brand new.
uncompl-
Have
No.
your vision, tell us your story, and give us exactly what we want.
Exactly
Yes,
what
check
we
all
want.
the boxes
Don't
that I
mess
want.
it up.
Check all the boxes that I want. Make me 10 again.
But give us
And-
something new.
That's right.
Yeah.
That,
It's
that,
got to
that
be
has
new.
your own take on it.
yeah.
But also exactly
Something
what I
peppy,
want.
something snappy. None of this
I
lovers
want
lament
something
crap.
happy.
So with
Lovers
that,
lament
take your
crap.
time. Take your
I
time with the next movie, but also like hurry it up.
hurry it up already.
You
You know, I was
just
thinking
quit.
about 2024.
Your band is falling apart, guy. Sorry. I thought we were just now doing
Your
all of that
band.
thing you do.
we
And then
have-
wait,
yeah,
where's
you know,
Lenny?
Where's
He
Lenny?
says that in the middle of recording. I've always thought that was hilarious. They didn't know. They haven't looked around the room. You're a band. They're already recording a
Your
song.
band guy
Your
is
band
falling
is falling
apart.
apart, guy. Where's Lenny?
No one's
Wait,
going to
when
work.
we started,
we
we're
recording
just now
without Lenny.
realizing after Jimmy quits that Lenny Lenny went to the amusement park and got married and
I'm
never
so
came back.
happy. Thanks for sharing.
That thing you do, cast. Sorry,
So great.
go.
We have 4. Is this the most prolific year on Disney Plus for Star Wars? I'm wondering, did we have another year with 4 separate shows?
We had more with
shown?
live action before.
We had more with live action, yeah.
What were they?
We
What
had
were
more live
had
action
in
shows.
Andor.
1 year?
We had the Andor, Obi-Wan,
Obi-Wan, and
Mando.
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 season 2 that year.
And what else was in
Same.
there?
And it might have been Bad
Bad
Batch. I think it was
Batch,
Bad
maybe.
Batch season
1?
1.
Did we get Tales of the Jedi that year also?
Oh, that might have
Tales of
been.
Jedi was this past year,
Yeah.
Okay.
right? That's what came out this past year. I think
That did.
Mando. I don't know. I don't know where I am.
We need a calendar.
Ah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
4 in a year feels
Yeah.
pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
I'm excited.
Little
and
overlap.
Two new.
2 brand new.
Like brand new. Don't even know the
Spanking.
characters.
I want to see
Oh, they're
this.
spanking.
Oh,
I
they're
want to see
spanking.
the marketing for Skeleton Crew when it's Jude Law and a bunch of these kids. 'Cause it's like it's just gonna be him like sitting there and like all these kids around him, and he's Jude Law is a charming guy, so it's gonna be funny. But it's funny that he's gonna be parading around with these
Yeah.
unknown
It's
children.
the Skeleton Crew with a bunch of kids
It's
and
a
Jude
musical.
Law.
He was Dumbledore.
He was Dumbledore.
Jude Law. Turns into a South Park or a Simpsons.
Visions. Oh yeah,
Simpsons.
Derpy in the chat says Visions season 2. We also got that.
Visions, Yes.
That was it. Okay.
Derp says, I could care less about anything else. I just want Andor season 2, but the Mando movie being Heir to the Empire adaptation that they got to do in parts.
Mm.
That'd be cool.
I like it. I like
Yep.
it.
I'm excited for both of those too.
And
I don't
I
think
can't
we're
wait
getting
for
Mara
Andor
Jade
season
though.
2.
I don't think we're getting Mara Jade. I don't think we're getting a Luke.
No,
love
no,
interest.
it's not going to be. No, we'll never get a Luke love interest.
I
But-
love Luke.
No, that's the only interest.
I'm
I
not sure if
care.
you're interested, but I love Luke.
I care.
Yeah, but yeah, Visions.
I care.
I wonder if they'll do another season of Visions.
I think so.
I've enjoyed them.
Visions is a way to bring in all of those things, all of those elements,
And brand new because
all
it's
the
not
legends,
canon also.
everything
You
is
can do
fair
anything.
game.
You can be out there.
and
It
let
is.
people really run.
Yeah,
And I think Visions is a testing ground because you find
I think it
a
is.
piece like, ooh, that resonates, and that we pull that in,
People loved this
and that
episode. or that episode.
becomes
Yeah.
we go farther.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree.
Definitely.
I agree.
Yeah.
I like that
I
idea
hope
too of
so.
just giving these different studios the freedom to tell their story within Star Wars world with their own style, and it's cool. Good idea.
Very
Yeah.
cool.
But
I'm excited.
yeah, we're ready for a great.
When do we get
we
started?
had a
What's
great
our
year in
first?
2023, and we're ready for.
Do we know what's
2024.
first? They didn't say what's
I
first.
believe Acolyte is first, but they haven't announced. I think Acolyte.
I don't know if
people
they
are-
gave us official dates.
I don't think there's an official date. I think people are speculating
Tonight?
either.
Today.
I mean, there's no. What's funny is I almost just said I think people are speculating late spring, early summer. We're already in January.
We're already
We
in
haven't
January.
gotten a trailer for it yet. They gave a trailer, a sneak peek of it at Star Wars Celebration, but they have not released to the Republic yet.
To the Republic.
They haven't released it.
The Empire
has
has
its
its hands on
Has
it,
its
but the
hands.
Republic doesn't.
Can't
have it.
release it.
Folks, look at this samurai. This is couch and tiger hidden Biden. Come on.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Can't wait for all of it, but especially Acolyte. I'm ready.
Acolyte.
I'm
Yeah,
ready for
it's
it.
gonna be great.
I can't wait.
And we'll be here talking about every single one.
We will.
Yes, we will.
Yeah.
I just love that we don't know what to expect from it too.
Ah.
That's exciting.
I love it.
That's exciting.
Yeah. So there you have it. Anticipation for Star Wars in 2024, which is here. It's here, and we're
It's
ready
here.
for it.
Ahsoka.
Acolyte, Skeleton Crew, Bad Batch Season 3, Tales of the Jedi Season 2,
Young Jedi Adventures, which we
Young
didn't really talk
Jedi
about.
Adventures,
Yep.
Outlaw. We're getting a lot of Star Wars stuff, and we're ready.
Star
Can't
Wars
wait.
Guys podcast.
So let us know.
That's
Yeah,
what
Star
most
Wars
people are
Guys
excited about.
podcast.
I'm excited
If you
about
made it this far, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and smash the notification bell. Drop some comments too. If you're watching this back, drop some comments on what your favorite Star Wars project is that's coming out. What you're looking forward to most. We can't wait. We're all here for it. We'll catch you guys in the next one. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Star Wars guys were people of mine before they turned to evil.
Star
They were
Wars.
positive, and then they went straight to the dark side.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
I went straight to the dark.
straight to the dark.
I was waiting for the dark side.
I was waiting. I was
For the
waiting
dark
for
side.
my Force lightning. It'll be here. I'll kill Chewie.
I killed
One
you.
day, I'll turn.